Hey guys, so this will be my review for Hokum Hex number 5 and Hyperkind number 7, which is the first crossover in the Razorline series, or the Razorline line of comics. If you've been following the reviews I've been doing the last little while, the last couple of weeks, you'll notice that I didn't enjoy Hyperkind as much as I used to, and I enjoyed Hokum Hex far more than I used to. Mixing the two improved Hyperkind barely, and really kind of sucked the energy out of Hokum Hex pretty badly. The teen angsty angle of Hyperkind really didn't mesh super well with the slightly cynical excuse me, the slightly cynical kind of aesthetic, I suppose, of Hokum Hex. And, you know, you have a really, I'm going to call it bungled, really. It's a really bungled attempt to bring what amounts to a fantasy property and a science fiction property together. It's terrifically bad. The story is titled Where Have You Been All My Hyper Life? I can only imagine that that was someone who had read the Hokum Hex books and thought, even though they were a writer for Hyperkind, oh yeah, I can do a pun. No. It's not even a good bad pun. It's just a bad pun. And really, it's just a play on the titles. Trip Monroe from Hokum Hex is brought to LA to perform on an analog of Saturday Night Live, which, if I recall correctly, they called it LA Friday Live or something like that. But it was just, there's some bad editing, there's some bad use of language in terms of actually using the wrong words to describe things at points in the book. And I really think this is a case of the team from Hokum Hex probably being pushed back. They probably thought at the time, because the X-Men were so big, that Hyperkind was going to be the new big thing, was going to be, to paraphrase Agent J, the new hotness at the time. Unfortunately, no. Fail. Miserable. Now, that said, I did enjoy the books. I enjoyed them more than the average Hyperkind book, because there was some good Hokum Hex content in there. The teen drama angle, the Smallville angle, we'll call it, because if I remember correctly, Smallville was on TV at the time? Not 100% sure, let me check. No, I was incorrect. Smallville ran from 2001 to 2011, and these books are from the 90s. But you could already see the, I suppose you might as well call it the proto-teen drama stuff, beginning to seep in. I don't personally understand why they would have done that. Well, I don't know why they would have put it so front and center in a crossover with another property, kind of betraying the spirit of the other book. The bad guy, for lack of a better term, from Hyperkind is the bad guy for these two books, obviously. He's under the mistaken assumption that Trip is one of the new Hyperkind, one of the new Paxes. And because of that, it really isn't Trip's story. In fact, he's kind of shoehorned into the story from his own book. In Hokum Hex 4, he's arrested for some Deus Ex Machina charge and basically shanghaied over to Hyperkind. Whether this is because the sales were not good for Hyperkind and they thought bringing Hokum Hex, which was probably selling better, over would work, or this was something they had planned from the get-go. I don't know. But it really wasn't a good fit to put those two properties together. I'm hoping there's no more crossovers. There's only, I believe, 4 issues of Hokum Hex and 5, maybe 6 of Hyperkind left to go through. I will start on the Hyperkind again for the next video and get that series finished. Really, it's mediocre storytelling. It's very bad. There's almost a reverse sort of Shazam-y sort of thing there, where they introduce the villains of the Paxes, the Vexus. Oh dear God, are they ever terrible? Which I would call a very low-rent UFOs team. Yeah. There's a supervillain team everybody knows, the UFOs. But yeah, it just was not a good choice. There's very little. There's a little bit of background and lore building with Hokum Hex, where Trip finally gets to meet his, as the Godkin himself refers to himself, his power giver. However, that conversation, yeah, it devolves into an analog for Trip's power having waned in the 5th book, or 4th book of Hokum Hex, is explained in a metaphor for erectile dysfunction. Now I need to know when Viagra came out. Apparently about 3 years later. So, I guess erectile dysfunction was a terror of the time. Not that I remember. I was 17, 16, 18, somewhere in that range. But yeah, they they used an erectile dysfunction metaphor to explain why Trip's power kind of faded. Apparently his power has a refractory period. Yay. Terrible. Not midi-chlorians explaining the Force terrible, but pretty fucking close. The Hyperkind went through almost no character building in their own book. I don't think they really went through a lot in Hokum Hex's issue of the crossover either. Let me see. I need to find something good to say about this crossover. No, I don't really have it. The black girl from Hyperkind turns out to be an angsty, self-centered egotist, which apparently turns out to be a power that will help you against a supervillain. Gotta love 90s comic books. Anyway, guys, yeah, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. If you're watching this on Rumble, let me know. There's a little comment box down there. Feel free to use it. Hit the Rumble button. Let me think. I really hate doing all this shilling stuff, so I'm trying to remember, because I really, really want to just reflexively not do it. So I've got PayPal, Subscribestar. I'm working on a merch store still. I think I may have found one. But if I have, it's probably going to be for the controversial stuff that I do on For Fuck's Sakes Friday. Over on Rumble exclusively. Feel free to check that out tomorrow. Or sorry, on Friday. I just realized that today is Thursday, and I'm filming something for Monday. Yeah. Don't forget, let's see, what else? Oh, Thursdays I also do the Shades of Dominion game, so that's coming. For me, it'll be tonight. For you guys, it would have been last week. But there'll be another one on Thursday, most likely. What else have we got going on? It's finally warm enough that I will be doing more live streams. If you've been paying attention to the channel, you'll notice that I've done a couple of random live streams already with the shed or tools. The pellet boards that I collected last week, or last weekend, and the remainder, which I'll be collecting this weekend, I will be making use of those in the coming future, in the coming days, for various projects. I may do some toy swords. I may do some toys out of them. If you guys have ideas for things you'd like to see me make, do let me know. Remember that I'm only at a craft level at this point. I don't have the money to buy a lot of lumber. And, in fact, my next project is going to be probably building stands for some of my new tools. I have a planer and a bandsaw that I will be making extensive use of in the coming while. Other than that, I don't think there's a terribly large amount of stuff that I have to do. So, I will leave it here. 12 and a half minutes seems like a fair bit of video. If there's something you'd like to see me do, something you haven't seen me do, or something that you'd like to see me do again, by all means let me know. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I appreciate it, but you've kind of popped in the middle of something. But yeah, do make yourself known if this is your first time watching a video. I do love to know what my my viewers think. Other than that, yeah, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you continue to have good days. And of course, rise and rise again until the lambs become lions. Bye-bye.